he does videos. Like, there was absolutely nothing, no saved videos, and even my sister was like, yeah, that's suspicious. You know?
Nolan Wells' mother said some very controversial things on Good Morning America today.
And I just want to ask you, the friends that Nolan traveled to Horn Island with, they say that he stayed behind voluntarily. Why would he stay behind?
That we cannot answer. I can't fathom why he would. Like,
I don't know why he would. We always taught him to, if you go with a group, you stay with a group. Mm-hmm. Even when he was in college, he would say, Dad, well, we're gonna ride down to a party or something in another city. Now, so I was out telling him, look, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Do not.
First of all, the composure of this family is amazing. Dad said what any Gen X dad would say when we raise our kids: you go in with 5, you come back with 5.
Now, so I was out telling him, look, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Do not separate from your group. Because I always said safety is in numbers. Mm-hmm. And he always said, yes, sir. So he knew to stay with his group. So why would he split from his group? I don't know.
So that would have been unusual for him to split from the group. Yeah. And you said he would always check in with you. Did he check in with you that day?
So that day, no, I don't. But of course, too, they were on the boat. And usually when he is out there, which it's not uncommon, he's, I think, since last year, he's been going there occasionally with his friends. And so it would always just be like, hey, Mom, I'm back, type of thing. But this time there was no call or text from him. It was from his friend.
And then, too, really didn't worry a lot about it because, it was his last weekend to have fun.
Hit the like button if you like this broadcast already. I gotta say this, fam. Typically, he checks in and then he doesn't check in. Somebody put in the chat what you think about this. It jumps out to me as anything that's done that's not typical, anything done out of the ordinary, I gotta question it. He's been here a lot of times before. Mom said he's been here a number of times before. So he's comfortable going there. He's been here with friends. I feel like something happened. Obviously something happened. What I'm saying is something situational happened, I believe. Let's keep going, fam.
It was his last weekend to have fun because that Monday he had to report to school. We was preparing to take him back for camp to prepare for the season. So, we're gonna see. He wanted to have his last little hurrah before he locked down and get ready for the season.
And we know, Ben, that you said that you're going to do an independent investigation.
Yes.
And you say you have Nolan's cell phone and messages were deleted. How could you tell messages were deleted?
Well, his parents got the phone back, and that's something that's important, Michael, because they tracked this phone on Life 360.
So Life 360, but when I received the phone call from Warren, I immediately called my friend Toshima and I said, hey, have you guys seen Nolan? Because her 2 sons, Jalen and Javon, they grew up together. They played City League sports together. When they got into school, they played sports together. And so she was like, hey, okay, the boys were pulling up the location from Snapchat. So the Snapchat location looks completely different than the Life 360 location. So when I pulled up Life 360, it was different. It was showing everywhere the phone had been. I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land. I'm not. He's like, but no, he didn't come back with us.
Okay, the mother pulls up the Life 360, right? She sees a location that contradicts what the Snapchat showed her. She realizes the phone is back on land, but if you're out on this sandbar, this island with the phone is still functional. You can still do Snapchats, you store them, and then you post them like any other time, right? What did he record?
Well, how were you able to get the phone?
So we tracked it, and my friend Toshima went and picked it up.
It wasn't like they said we got his phone. They tracked it, and that highlights all these contradictions.
I was under the impression that the kids was like, look, we got Nolan's phone, here you go. He didn't come back with us, here's his phone. But it seems like mom tracked the phone and then they went and picked up the phone. So it wasn't, that's the difference. Isn't that a little bit different than somebody like showing up at your house with the phone and being like, hey, Nolan didn't come pick up his phone. Here you go, ma'am.
Highlights all these contradictions, Michael. The fact that they said Nolan was talking to a young woman and she said that he said, I'm going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys said that he said he was going to stay with her. And so that's an obvious contradiction. And then this video of this, you can hear an argument going where Nolan is saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing?
My freaking phone. Fam, this is big. This is big. Nah. Why would he need to say that? Why would he need to tell people that if I thought he accidentally left his phone on the boat? Or something like that, right? Isn't that the way the narrative's been, that it was an accident, he didn't realize he left it? It was sort of like, oh man, he must have left it. Or they left it because they didn't want anything to happen to it, so it was intentional. But this sounds like someone took it. Someone physically took his phone, and now when they get it back, they say messages have been deleted.
That he said, I'm going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys said that he said he was going to stay with her. And so that's an obvious contradiction. And then this video of this, you can hear an argument going where Nolan is saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? And so then his phone ends up missing. I don't know any teenagers, Michael Strahan, who says, if you believe their story, I'm gonna stay behind and I'm gonna leave my phone. I mean, no young person leaves their cell phone. And so then there's so many things their parents were telling us about, even why didn't his body wash up with the tide on Sunday? Why would it come on Monday? It's not adding up. And that is the problem when you think about the history of Mississippi.
Mississippi had the highest rate of lynchings in the country, at 52.3 lynchings per 100,000 residents. Yeah, people need to know this. There are people that dismiss us as being paranoid. So we're seeking to know what happened to this young man.
There's so many questions that need to be answered.
When we finally got his phone, me and my sister went through the phone. We went in his Snapchat. He had 2 accounts, absolutely nothing. It wasn't even 24 hours, which is how long videos and pictures stay in Snapchat. And I was just like, that can't be. Like, I've seen Nolan whenever he snaps, like when he goes and he's having fun, like he does videos, like there was absolutely nothing.
I just want to point out that it was out of the ordinary for Nolan not to take snaps. All of it's deleted. The stories and the other snaps that stay, right? All that's gone. And he was like, where's my phone? I mean, you can't tell me nothing happened. Something happened, obviously. It's like people want to conveniently make this like an accident. They don't want to find blame, but I'm finding pieces here that just don't make sense. Why would he do anything different than what he normally does? Why would all of a sudden things not be what they normally are? If he went to this place several times, and every time he was there, he took snaps, and it's all on his Snapchat, it's all on his phone, and then this particular time, this one time, nothing's there. That doesn't ring off, like, that doesn't throw red flags. Because I know we got people that are just adamant on Facebook and adamant on X, YouTube, that this is nothing, you don't know anything. You know, and all I'm saying is, It's not like this was his first time there. He has a track record of what he does when he gets there. He usually checks in with his parents. He has structure. He has focus. He's an athlete. This is the last hurrah before coming back and having to go to football camp. But he wasn't crazy. And they said he was with the girl, and the girl says, nah. He said he left me and said, I'm going back with the guys. And the only people left to tell the story are those guys.
We
having an independent autopsy done at the behest of his family. Colin Kaepernick helped pay for the independent autopsy. We flew his body up from Mississippi to D.C. because they wanted an autopsy done by a person with no interaction with the Mississippi law enforcement, because there's an issue of trust here that is really important. And the fact that they keep trying to say, suggesting it was a drowning, but nobody out there reported him drowning. It's not adding up, Michael Strahan. It is not adding up.
And honestly, we are doing this because at the end of the day, I would hope any parent would fight for their kids to find out if anything happened.
Wow. So, two things. When they do this autopsy, right, they're going to be able to determine if it was drowning was the cause of death. I know I've seen a lot of people jump into the conclusion that automatically means that he drowned. That just means that's where the body was. Okay? So that's the first thing. Number two, even if he did drown, does that mean he was drowned, or does that mean he drowned? Meaning, one could be considered an accident. The second, depending on the condition of the body, was the defensive wounds, cuts, abrasions, things of this nature. So this autopsy is going to be humongous. I'm going to reserve judgment on everything here, but I got questions. I want to see what this autopsy comes back with. I want to know where's the footage. I want them to do some forensics on that phone. Let's look into that phone and see on that phone if there were deleted messages. You could delete. I have an IT background, and particularly in security, right? And I'm aware that even when you delete a file, there's a record of the file being deleted. And if those files were deleted when the phone was obviously not in Nolan's possession, that's going to tell us something else, right? Wouldn't that be weird that things are being deleted off his phone when he didn't have a phone? What was their motive for deleting files off his phone when it was out of his possession? Look, man, I don't want to be harsh. Fam, but I got to say it. I think the outcome for these parents are going to be different than the Carmelo Anthony case, just based on the way the parents are conducting themselves. Hey, I said it. I'm putting it out there. I'm sorry. But that's how I feel, and there ain't no reason for me to bite my tongue. There's no reason for me to not tell you what I'm thinking. I mean, I know I can't be the only one thinking that. I'm impressed. And look, there's no heirs. I just feel that these parents are going to get to the bottom of this. And that's all we want to know. We want to know what happened. We want the truth. I love the fact we got no meddling organizations involved. No, nobody jumping in the limelight. Crump is a lawyer. He is a lawyer with a law firm. You need a lawyer in a law firm. But you don't need BLM spokespeople. We don't need Al Sharpton type national action networks. We don't need whatever that guy was. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The one on the Carmelo Anthony case. We don't need that. You don't need that. We want the truth. It's weird because when we want to know what happens to black people, it's seen as paranoid, racist. But when white parents want to know what happened to their kids, Latinos, whether they white or black Latinos, they want to know what happened to their kids. Asians want to know what happened to their kids. Doesn't everybody love their kids? Wouldn't everybody want to know what happened to their kids? Why is it only when it's black kids that people be like, why you need to know? It's weird. I mean, I know they don't say that, but it's sort of like a pushback, fam. Am I tripping? We gonna ride for what we gonna ride for over here. But I'm just pointing out the discrepancy. This is a beautiful young man who lost his life. And we just want to make sure there was no foul play. That's it. That's all. We're going to make sure that we're going to get to the bottom of this case. I hope. And I like the fact that they're going to do some analysis outside of Mississippi. Mississippi has a horrific track record. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's advisable. And if you didn't do that, well, then you wouldn't be doing your due diligence. You got to do that. Something tells me it's a lot more we going to find out. To the bottom of stories like this, you got to stay bold. You got to stay courageous. But most of all, you got to stay dangerous. That's right. Because the truth is dangerous. Lies are safe. You can lie all day. That's safe. But when you start getting down to the truth, you're going to have people trying to hide the truth. And it can become dangerous to expose the truth, to tell the truth. Stay dangerous.
Catch Tim Black live on the most dangerous show in America, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Don't miss out on the real. Stay dangerous.